So good evening and welcome to the Lumsden CPD session for UPSC aspirants. So firstly, I will give us just a brief introduction of Lumsden. Lumsden is an organization of young people who share the same passion for assisting their fellow students and professionals from different parts of the world. Students of different grades are offered assistance to pursue their dreams in life. Various students, due to incompetent facilities or opportunities in their own native area, find the necessity for moving to other cities to pursue their dreams, to pursue their studies or careers. Pursuing students for hunting jobs in other cities open a whole new can of worms. In their crusade, students often got trapped into dilemmas such as which college to study, which course to opt. Will engineering do the best for them, or should they opt for commerce courses? And the list goes on. In all this chaos, many students end up studying in wrong colleges or leaving the idea altogether and returning back to their respective homes. So at Lumsden, we connect students from remote areas to be mentors and professionals at global level. So for today's session, we would like to welcome Sir Stanzin Wangyal. He ranked 717th in Civil Services Mains Examination 2019. So he's basically an engineer and he did his dual degree, that is Bachelor and Master in Chemical Engineering from IIT Roorkee. And as we all know that UPSC, that is Union Public Service Commission, is the India's central recruiting agency. So he prepared for UPSC for more than 5 years. He joined the session using the same link and password. So firstly we have a session by our mentor, and after that participants can ask questions. So at last I want to say request that all the participants should keep their video on while asking question, at least while asking questions, so that it would look more interactive. So that's all. So let's start with our session. Uh, Actually, you can start. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Jingmadam. First of all, I would like to thank Lumsden for inviting me here and giving me this opportunity to interact with everyone here. And I think Lumsden is doing a very great job in trying to connecting people who are already in different professional fields with people who are aspiring to join respective fields. That I think that is a very important thing to do, and a good timely advice can definitely be a game changer for any student in their respective pursuits. So, with that said, I think I'll start my session. So, let me just briefly say that I've actually given some sessions before. So, what I really wanted to say, most of that has been already said, and it's already there on the internet. But still, I'll be trying to quickly go through the overview of what I want to say. And I think it would be beneficial if it is if this session is more interactive in nature. If more like if I could entertain more questions, that would be much better, I think. So I'll just start with what I feel is important for everyone while preparing for civil services. So first of all, when you're preparing, of course, you have to read newspapers, and you have to do it. I think you have to make it a habit to read it every day, and it can be any newspaper. It can be either Hindu or the Indian Express, and uh, either is good, I feel. And it's just that don't think too much about like if this is better, that is better. Just pick one that suits you more, and then carry on with it. And after that, I would say that next important thing is, if I think you should make a schedule of at least, let's say, around 1 to 1.5 year a schedule of what you want to do and how you want to prepare for these exams. And for that, I would say first you should definitely try to prepare for the mains examination, and that would be your optional and other subjects that which are in the mains. And for that, I would suggest that you should prepare the static syllabus first, because static syllabus will help you in both prelim mains. If, in fact, even in interview, it might help you. By static syllabus, I mean, subjects like history, which is of modern India, ancient, medieval, geography, environment, economy, and so on and so forth. So obviously you have to read the NCRTs of these things or standard reference books like Lakshmikant and let's say Nitin Singhane for art and culture. And I think internet is filled with such information about what kind of books you should refer for these things. And after that, of course, you should be well prepared for your optional. So, and while you're making the schedule, of course, you will have certain targets for certain months or weeks. And I think it's hard to meet them. Personally, I felt that it is not easy to meet the targets on time. So even if you're able to, let's say, do 75 to 80%, meet the 75 to 80% of the target, I think that's good enough, I think. And you should also ensure that in your schedule, you carve out time for revision. It is very important to revise while preparing for civil services because, of course, there is so many things that you read. And if you're not able to retain then, and if you're not able to use what you read in the exam, then I think it's of no use. So that can only happen when you revise timely. And yeah, that would be, I think I would stress that you guys should revise timely. And of course, next thing I would say, you should get used to the syllabus of the civil service exam. So prelims, I think you guys know what the syllabus is. Basically general studies, and it's given on the website also. So you can manage the syllabus there, but it's I think more important to get used to the syllabus of mains. So there is paper 1, 2, 3, 4, and your optional. So I think you should keep reading what the syllabus is for all the paper. And because even when the question examiner sorry the question, who is setting the question paper, when he will make a question, he or she himself will look at the syllabus first and then make the questions. So if you have a good grasp of the syllabus of mains, I think you'll be able to handle the questions more easily if you set for mains, if you qualify prelims, that is. So that's that. And another way of getting used to syllabus is to see the previous year questions. Now it is not exactly getting used to the syllabus, but it is more to do with what is the pattern of questions that is being asked. So in that sense, it helps you to fine tune your preparation, because then you kind of understand what you need to focus more upon and what you need to retain more, or so something like that. And also I think don't be worried if when you're sitting in the exam and suddenly you see that the paper is very different from what you saw. It happens, and if it's happening for you, then it's happening for everyone, so don't worry about that. And yeah, be ready for mains before sitting for prelims. I think I've said this before also in other talks, but it's very important because after prelims there is only 3 months for mains. And I think I think ideally what you should do is revise what you have already prepared for mains and update the current affairs and keep writing, giving mocks and all that, mocks for the mains exam. And of course, you have to be very consistent, at least for like not couple of years, let's say 1 year or 1.5 years, both in your preparation and revision. I think that is a must. That is what I felt personally. And of course, as they say, don't keep all of your eggs in one basket. Similarly, try to have some alternative plans in case you're not able to clear this let's not think like that, but just so that there's a safety cushion for you, because it's really important to have to be mentally calm while preparing for the exam and also while appearing for the exam. So having a good plan B definitely helps in that sense. And yeah, just be confident and believe in yourself that you can do this exam, that you can clear this exam, because it is a very long and arduous task, this clearing this exam. So you need something to motivate yourself. And I think having the confidence, or at least the faith that you can clear the exam, kind of gets you going, keeps you going all in, I think, all the circumstances. So I'll just briefly say, about the exam itself now. These were just some general points I was trying to outline. So this exam consists of 3 stages. I think all of you are aware of that. First is the preliminary exam, then is the mains, and then we have the interview, and then finally a candidate is selected. So in preliminary exam, we have objective questions, 100 question each in two papers. So the two papers being, first being the general studies, second being the CSAT. So I'll just quickly touch upon CSAT. CSAT is the marks is not counted to for to see whether you have qualified for PT or not. You just need to qualify the exam and get around 33% marks. So CSAT has four sections: passages, quantitude, quant, and logic and reasoning. So I think you guys should prepare for this when around, let's say, I think you should overall generally prepare for prelims when around 2.5 to 3 months are left for the exam. And CSAT, you can prepare. There are many online courses. You can just take a look at them. And my personal suggestion would be to be strong at to strong at quantitative logic and reasoning, because if you know this question, I think you know this question. There aren't very tricky questions, but passages I have experienced that sometimes there are very close options in the MCQs, multiple choice questions. So it kind of gets tricky there. So that would be my suggestion for CSAT. And now coming to the main part, which is the GS paper, the first paper of prelims. This will determine the cutoff, or whether you can, or whether you have, qualified, or whether you have qualified for the mains exam. So about GS, I would say is that I think first of all, let me tell you that there is negative marking in this paper. I think it's there in both the paper. So what in the negative marking is such that if you get a question wrong, 1/3 of the marks will be deducted. So basically, that means that if you get one question right, you can so you need three questions wrong to negate the right question that you have done. So now that being said, I would say that in PT there is a cutoff. I think you all know, and you have to clear that cutoff to sit for mains. So my personal strategy for PT has been to at least attempt 85 questions, and I would say that, of course, you wouldn't know. I didn't know at least all the 85 questions. Generally, people know around 40 to, let's say, 50 questions, and they're sure about that. That okay, that I know this, but then you can still make mistakes. So if that happens, so you won't be clearing the cutoff if you just do those questions which you know, 40 to 50. So it's better to go for more questions, because many questions you would be seeing that you would be able to eliminate. There are four options in each question, so you'll be able to eliminate at least a couple of questions, a couple of options. And so, but still, since you're not sure, you might feel that okay, I shouldn't attempt it. But my suggestion would be to go ahead and attempt those questions. You should definitely attempt if you're able to eliminate two options. I think you should definitely take the chance. And even in other questions where you feel you have a hunch that you might know it or have heard it somewhere, you should take the chance and attempt the question. Because if you do the maths, about how this thing works, you'll see that, as I said, that for every one right question, you need three wrong questions to negate that right question. So let's say you've done 60 to 70 questions in the paper, and you can attempt, let's say, 10, 15 more questions. So even if you get 5 or 6 right out of 15, you will be overall your mark. You will have more marks. So that will definitely help you to cross over the cutoff for your respective category. So that would be my suggestion for that. And yeah, another thing I would like to stress upon is that for PT at least, be very well prepared and thorough with your preparation of the static syllabus, which would be, of course, as I said, history, geography, and all that, because you know that questions will come from these sections for sure, and kind of these questions would be mostly what you would be knowing for sure. And especially polity, I think it has one of the highest cost benefit in the sense the time you put in and the marks that you get out of it. Polity is like really beneficial in that sense. You need to be well read with Lakshmikant, and I think it always gives very good dividend. In fact, that would be there for all the static syllabus, so you do that. And for people with science background, forest services, you can also appear for forest services, and this exam, the preliminary is also common for the forest services, the civil services and forest services. So the cutoff of forest services goes high. So if in case you're preparing for that, I think you should focus more on prelims. And of course, you have to give a lot of mocks. and see how you're doing, and and when you give a mock paper, try to think that you're in the exam hall and giving the paper, because it will help you to see that what kind of mistakes you're doing while attempting the question paper. And it is important to rectify those mistakes, because you shouldn't just blindly keep giving marks. The main idea of giving marks is to see what you're doing wrong and to rectify it. So after every mock, try to see what you're doing wrong and ensure that you don't repeat it, and like gradually, keep bettering yourself, and hopefully your score will be good enough, your preparation will be good enough before the prelims. So that is all I have to say about prelims. I'll just quickly also go through mains now. So mains, as you know, there are around four general studies paper, one essay paper, and two optional paper. And for mains, for clearing mains, I think it is essential that you score really well in your optional exam, because uh, like I have a lot of friends who have already cleared the exam, and all of whom who have cleared this exam, they have had very good marks in their optionals. I've rarely seen anyone who has scored bad in their optional and have cleared the exam. So optional is like, scoring well is a must in mains. And as I said, that you should, while preparing, ensure that your optional is very well done, at least before prelims. I think that is really important. And my optional was sociology. So there are many optionals. You can just look at the website and see what optional is being offered for the exam. And if, as far as how do you have to choose the optional, I would say that go through the syllabus of the optional and try to read some basic books, let's say NCRTs of the respective optional. And if you can see that you like the optional, or you see that you might have certain aptitude for that particular subject, then you should go for that. Other thing that you can consider is, you can see that how can the is the optional helping you in other areas of the exam as well. For example, sociology definitely helped me with my essay and paper one, also also an interview. So you can, such kind of factors you can keep in mind while selecting your optional. So this is that about optional. Now coming about, like, going to the other papers, the general studies papers of the mains exam. So there are 20 questions in each of the question papers, the general studies question paper, and time management is the key here. And you have to, I personally think you should attempt all the questions, and it is really, really important to attempt all the questions, because the marks that you get for a question, even if you do like write a really good answer, I think you don't get the full marks. So you have to ensure that you attempt all the question and get average, above average marks in all the questions, and eventually get a good score. So and now how time management, as I was saying, is really important. It is because, as I said, there are 20 questions. Right now the pattern is such that the first 10 questions carry 10 marks, and the second and the last 10 questions carry 15 marks, and you have to complete this paper in 3 hours. So my personal strategy was to give 8 minutes each to the initial 10 questions, then 10 minutes each to the last 10 questions. So while preparing, or while practicing answer writing, you might feel that you're not able to complete the paper in time. So I would suggest that while practicing, you set a clock. Let's say if you're practicing the 10 markers, and obviously that means that 8 minutes for one question. So, or let's say you're doing 5 questions. So you have set the clock at 40 minutes. So just what you should do is that, okay, let me just uh, recap a little bit. First, I think you should try to go in a sequence while preparing for your answer writing. So what do I mean by the sequence? What I mean is that, okay, first of all, when you're trying to write an answer, if you're really new to the game, don't think about the time so much. First, try to get the structure of the answer right, the content, of the answer right. First you try to focus on that, and you would understand about the structure and content. Of course, you'll get when you read, when you prepare. That's how you get the content, structure and all. You can check out the toppers copy. There are many toppers have left their copies on their personal blogs. You can check that out. So all these things, you try to ensure that your structure, your content, and presentation of the answer also, it matters a little bit, I think, is like right. This is the sequence. Then when you get that right, then you try to do all this in the specified time. So now how to do that? So as I said, that let's say you're practicing answer writing, and you're doing 5 questions of 10 markers for 40 minutes. So you might feel that, okay, I'm not able to write it in time. So what I would say is that in such a scenario, what you should do is that, let's say you're writing the answer and you can see the clock in front of you, and if it hits the 8-minute marker, you just leave that question. uh, because and this is only for like practice, while you're practicing answer writing, you leave that question, because once you do that, then you will know that, okay, this is the time I have and I cannot extend beyond this. And once you keep doing that day by day, your, I think, brain will also automatically get used to the time that you have, and then you'll eventually, you will find, like, it doesn't happen overnight or like in a 2 or 3 days. I think you need to be consistent for, I hope, let's say a month, and then you'll see the difference, that you're able to clock in at uh, timely for the answer. And why I say answer writing practice is really important, because let's say you have a way of writing the answer, okay, and that way of writing the answer might be what is working. And mostly, of course, the chances that the way you write the answer is not really how is not really the best way of writing the answer. So since I said that there are like 20 questions in one paper, and there are two papers that you have to give in one day, it's really it takes a toll upon you. So if you're not even if you know how to write the answer, but if you have not practiced well, eventually what will happen is that when you are going there to write the exam, you will end up writing the way the way your natural style is, you know if you're not if you've not like worked upon it a lot. So then it doesn't matter whether you know or not how to write the answer, because it is you are on your toes all the time in both the paper. So once you have like really internalized the way of writing after like a lot of answer writing practice, that is the only way to like ensure that you can write well in the mains. So that's why I really stress that answer writing is really important for mains. In fact, I would say that even more than, let's say, looking for content or trying to improve your knowledge, I think answer writing is really, really important. So another thing that I would like to stress is that, of course, in mains, as I said, there are 20 questions in each paper, and you won't know all the questions. Of course, some questions you would know very well, you would do that, and some questions you wouldn't. So just ensure that the questions that you know very well do not extend the time that you have kept for each question. Write it within the time, and for the questions that you don't know, try to write in a manner so that it looks like that you know the answer. Because in the course of this preparation, if you have prepared sincerely, you would definitely uh, definitely, like, you would definitely have some content to write. So just try to ensure that you can present it in a very convincing manner. uh, that would be my suggestion. And sometimes there are like some questions are like really, really, I would say most of the candidates wouldn't even know what to write, but yet many candidates write something that comes to their mind. So try to practice that also, and it's very important. And as I said, see the toppers copy, give mocks, and of course, in this also, when you give a mock, try to ensure that after giving the mock and getting the paper, you will definitely get feedbacks from the checker. So ensure that you rectify those mistakes before you go and give the next mock. It's really important. So this is what I have to say. And of course, try to, yeah, integrate your preparation, because what you have read in pre, a lot of factual things and you know data you would have remembered for your prelims exam. So try to use that in your answer writing for mains as well. It will help you streamline your preparation. And also, it's important that you write some facts or examples in your answers. It definitely adds value to the answer and will help you fetch more marks. If you, let's say, if you give some more data and more examples. So that's really important. And I'll just quickly touch upon essay as well. So essay it also carries 250 marks, and you have to write two essays. So there are two sections, and each section will give you four topics. So you have to choose one topic from each section and write two essays. So generally, what happens is that students choose what they're really comfortable with, and that is the right way to go about it. But lately, what last year what UPSC did was, so essays, you will see that mostly civil services aspirants are comfortable with the kind of essays relating to general studies or things that they have been studying, but let's say a essay which sounds a little philosophical, like uh, happiness is the best wealth, something like that, something philosophical line like that. Students would generally shy away from writing such essays. So now what UPSC has started doing is that one whole section will be filled with such options. So you definitely you should be well prepared for these kind of essays as well. And जैसे कहते हैं कि उस पे अपना हाथ आजमाइए, you definitely should write such essays more and more. And another tip that I can give you, that you can prepare template for essays for education, gender equality, climate change, things, topics which most likely will end up in the essays, or like about democracy. You just look at the 5 6 year essays of the last 5 6 years, and you'll get a brief idea of what the templates around which you can prepare, because it will save you time while you're writing the essay. And how to go about writing the essay: so basically there are 3 hours and you have to write 2 essays, so obviously 1.5 hours for each essay. So what I personally do is I give 15 minutes for I jot down all the points regarding the essay, and I try to structure the essay. What will be my introduction, how will I conclude, what kind of points I will write, and then I proceed to write the essay. So that's what I have to say about essay. So now coming finally to the interview stage. So if you qualify for mains, you'll reach the interview stage, and your final marks, your ranking will depend upon the marks that you get in the mains and interview. And mains carries a lot of weightage, so mains is really important. So just be very well prepared for mains. So okay, now coming to interview. So of course, interview is not exactly a knowledge of your test per se. Okay, so what you have to do is that because your knowledge has been more or less checked during the prelims and mains. So it is really what the interview board is trying to do is they're trying to peek into your personality, like what kind of a person you are you fit for civil services. So you have to like ensure that you radiate a very well balanced persona in the interview, and how to prepare for interview. Well, you have to fill a detailed application form before appearing for the interview. So of course, your DAF, the interview board will ask most of the question based upon your DAF, and I think it is important to prepare a DAF. That will be the major part of the preparation of an interview. So DAF will consider, will contain information like your background, where do you hail from, what kind of graduation did you did in which stream, and what kind of hobbies do you have, what was your optional in the exam, all these kind of things. So you should be very well prepared on these topics, and ensure that you get the you should any question it is which is asked upon these, if it is opinion based, definitely give an answer, and try ensure that in case you don't know, then well, hard luck, you can just say sorry sir, I don't know, or sorry ma'am, I don't know, and move on. And other thing is that current affairs will be really important also, because what is happening, read the newspapers very diligently, especially during the interview phase, and prepare topics which are like very important topics. For example, uh, questions regarding COVID was asked me, like how it affects our economy in context of us importing a lot of pharmaceutical ingredients from China. So things like this you have to prepare at that time. And as I said, that if you don't know any answer, it's okay. Any current affairs based on question, if you're not aware of, it's okay. You can just say sorry sir, or something good, or better way is to say that sir or ma'am, I'll go back and read upon it, because it shows that you have initiative to learn more. So such kind of things you have to see, and also try to give some mock interviews, just to gauge that where is the preparation. And as I said before, rectify the mistakes after giving the mocks, and then proceed for the next mock. So this is what I have to say basically about this. Another thing I will just briefly mention is that I stayed for quite some time in residential coaching academy in Jamia Millia Islamia. So basically, you get you can stay there for free. You just have to pay the mess fee, and but to get there, you have to pay for an exam. And I think the forms are out for that, and the last date have been extended. So you guys should definitely look into it if you want to prepare for civils, because that place is a very good environment. There are 200 people who are preparing for the exam, and you can lean onto each other and learn from each other. So I would like strongly suggest for every all of you here, if you can get enrolled in the residential coaching academy program of Jamia Millia Islamia, that would be very good. There are other also such programs in institutions like Jamia Hamdard and Hamdard Study Circle. So yeah, that is all I have to say. If there is any question, I would be very happy to answer that.
Okay.
Hello, sir.
So participants ask question. Yes.
Okay. So my question is that while you're preparing for exam, have you ever distracted from such unwanted things that you are avoiding while studying? So if you have ever feel such things, then how you maintain to avoid such things like social media and all that while you're preparing for the paper? Have you ever distracted? If you did that, how you maintain, how you avoid from such things, sir?
And then it's not just social media. There are many other things. You have your friends also, and there are other things you can maybe go have fun with them, things like that while you're preparing. So I would say that initially in the first few years, I was not very serious about my preparation. So obviously at that time I was distracted because I was more involved with my college friends in Delhi, because I'm from Roorkee, so a lot of them were in Delhi. So I was involved with them in let's say for entertainment. So what generally happens is I've seen that some people so basically can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yeah, yes, sir.
Yeah, sorry. So sorry, my screen just got went blank. So
It's okay.
distractions. So social media and all, it can be a distraction. So what I'm trying to say is that ensure that you use it for a good break, and follow certain pages on social media which are not very, which helps you to prepare more for your civil services. And just and one of the biggest also source of uh, focus, or let's say which helps you to focus more and not be distracted by such things, is to have a good friend circle who are preparing for the exam. If you are in company of such people who are like-minded, then of course it helps you to remain focused and look at the you know look at uh, look at the larger picture, because what is more important for you as an aspirant is to prepare for the exam, and not to overthink about things that are happening on social media or society, because uh, it- that is what really helps. So that would be my suggestion to you.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay.
So before you leave, can you tell me what's the website of Jamia Millia to register for the exam?
Okay. Okay. I'll try to share the link on the chat of this session. I think only a few minutes are left, so we can rejoin. I'll try to share it on the chat here. Okay, that's fine with you.
Yes, sir. Okay, thank you.
Hello. Okay, I'll just try to share the link
Yes, sir.
after
It's
in the
fine.
next session. Okay.
Okay.
So we can leave and again rejoin the session. Right now,
Yeah. Let's
we can
let's
leave.
let's do.
Hmm.
Okay.
We can even read.
Hello. Hello.
No, sir.
Yeah, you can hear me, right?
Yes, yes. So let's continue.
Yeah, okay. Before we continue, I would just like to say that I have shared the link of as website where you can apply on in the chat of this session. So if anybody wants to have a look, they can have a look. Okay, yeah. If anybody has any other question, I would like to address that.
Okay. So any participants having any questions, they can ask.
Hello.
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 Am I audible? Hello.
Yes, yes.
Hello.
Yeah. Hello. Hello, Khalid. First of all, congratulations for getting selected in the Civil Service 2019. My question is regarding to the prelims, because when we talk about the prelims, we deal with ample, like a huge amount of syllabus. So for that, people like aspirants recommend practicing questions. So how did you, like, what kind of what kind of test series you opt for? You opt for? And hello, hello.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, sorry. Actually, so what kind of mock you you preferred for the for the prelims purpose, and how did you manage to revise all the mocks? Because as some people say that, like, you, okay, I solved that many questions or this much questions. So how did you manage to track the number of questions you solved, and how did you revise all these things? So if you could share some of your strategies, it would be very beneficial for many of the aspirants.
Okay, so basically, your voice was echoing initially. So I will just rephrase the question. You just want to know which mocks I appeared for and how I managed to revise them, right? That is what you want to know, right?
Yeah, something like regarding the prelims, the mock test, and what kind of mock test you
Prelims or
opted for,
mains?
and how
Prelims
did
or
you?
mains?
Yeah, prelims, basically prelims.
Okay, okay. So for prelims, generally, I use the mock papers of Vision IS. Some people go for Insights IS, so it's up to you, whatever you prefer. Just pick one and try to do it properly. And as far as how I revised it, I think it's important that you start giving mocks initially, when 3 months are there. And once because then you have enough time to give them mocks ahead of you, as well as keep revising them. So when you're giving your mocks, or you'll see that some questions you would know, so that's fine. But some questions you wouldn't know. So the questions that you don't know, either you underline in the solutions of the mocks that is given, or write it down somewhere, and try to revise at a particular time, and or whatever schedule that you have set for revision. And so that used to be my strategy. And I would just like to tell you that just pick any test series of any coaching institutes, let's say Vision or Insights, and do do it. If you can do two, that's good. If you can manage that, that's better. But if you can do one, that's also enough. And don't think too much about whether this is better or that is better, because uh, nobody really knows what kind of questions will come. So it's better to be well prepared with let's say one test series, the whole test series, than to be like half be not very well prepared with two test series of different coaching institutes. So I hope that addresses your query. If there's anything else, ask me.
Yeah, one more thing is regarding to the current affairs things, because prelims, we have huge amount of current affairs. So how did you manage the current affairs? Like, did you opt for different
Okay.
sources, or you were stick to one sources?
Mm-hmm. Okay. So I would say that for current affairs, as I'm saying, that you should definitely keep reading the newspapers diligently, right? and you should not just do passive reading. You should actively read it, think about it. So once you do that, that also helps you to retain certain things for current affairs. And you don't have to make notes of newspaper all day. I don't think it's important. You can make notes for certain important topics or certain certain articles that you like yourself. And for content, again, I used to use Vision Eyes current affairs material before prelims. I'm sure you know that PT 365 and other such things come. And there are many coaching institutes who are coming up with material these days. So I used to read that, and I used to discuss it with my friends. That also helped me to retain it. And you have to basically uh, you have to read it, and then you have to try to retain it, like when you're thinking. Because the more you try to remember things, that very act of remembering helps you to, I think, I don't know, helps your brain to wire itself in a manner so that it tries to recall it. Because so that's what I'm saying. You should read it very well. You should try to recall it. You should revise, and you should try to discuss it with your friends so that these things stay in your mind. And it's obvious that there are a lot of things. There is no dearth of information. So this is there. And right now, what is happening is that UPSC is, I think, kind of going beyond 1 year also. They are asking some old questions also, like 1.5 year, 2 years old. But for that, what you can do is you can pick up the PT material of the last year and look at the important topics. Don't read up on everything. Big topics like, for example, there was a Indian State of Forest Survey report that came last year, but the question was asked last year. So obviously it was a very big topic that time, but it didn't come. But it came the next year. So in that way also you can streamline your preparation if you want to go beyond 1 year, the past 1 year for your preparation. I hope that helps.
And for the prelims thing, how much weightage would you give the current affairs, like static current affairs? Like how do you balance that thing? Because that's the main the UPSC uses it. Yeah.
Okay, I don't know whether I consciously made my strategy as to decide what weightage I'm giving to current affairs and static. But I would just try to ensure that I fill the target of preparing my static, reading all the reference books and not all the NCRTs, some NCRTs that I found helpful. I would say the geography NCRT is like really important, and you should read that. And my other target would be to complete the current affair books of the respective the coaching institutes that I mentioned. So that was my strategy. I never thought that okay, I'm giving more weightage to this or more weightage to that. But definitely at the back of my mind, I knew that I have to be very well prepared with static, because I knew that the questions from these section will come for sure. Current affairs, they can ask anything under the sun, they can ask you. So that is how I went about my prelims.
Okay, one more question last. So with regard to the mains, so we are talking about completing this 20 questions in 3 hours, right? So do you think that it's important to go to coaching tuition and practice, because there you are in the exam pressure, like to have an exam kind of setup when all the aspirants are writing, or do you prefer like it's we can manage at home at sitting alone?
Okay. Yeah. So I would say that if that definitely is important, if you can go to a coaching institute and write in an environment where everybody's writing, but that is only for your mock test. When you decide, okay, 3 hour I'll write the test today, because you cannot do that every day. So every day, what I generally did was, let's say, I practiced for 40 minutes or 1 hour, and I would write 5 to 6 questions depending upon the the marks that the questions carried. So that you can definitely do at room. In fact, you should do that at room only. Sit and practice every day, write 6, 7, or 10, whatever you can manage questions every right. I think you have to do it do that in your room only. So when you do that and you're prepared enough for the mocks, then you should go to give the mocks of your whatever mock test that you have joined. So I would say that it is both. You have to sit at your home or wherever you're studying, and do your self practice there, writing 5 to 10 questions every day. And of course, then you have to go to the, where you're giving your mock exams. You have to go there and write there also to get the feel of the examination. So both of it is important. And but I know some of my friends who have not been able to who have not been living in Delhi, so they opted for online exams, and they also cleared. So if you are not able to do so for any reason, I think then fine, that is also fine. You can still manage. But if you can go to a coaching institute and give your marks there in the exam hall, that I think will definitely be helpful. I hope it, addresses your query.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, there was a question in the chat box uh, from Urgen Namdol. How to improve answer writing actually?
Okay. So Urgenle, I would, I think I said this before also, that if you want to improve your answer writing, go in a step-by-step manner to improve your answer writing. So of course, the first step would be to get the structure right of the answer, like that if you're writing the introduction well, then there is the main body of the answer, then there's the conclusion. So first you ensure that you're getting that right, that okay, your structure is well, that the examiner can see the introduction, it can see the main body and the different points easily, and the conclusion also very well. Don't worry too much that the quality of the answer is too good or bad initially. Just try to get the structure right. So once you're very well done with the structure, that you can always able to follow a structure, then you try to improve the content. And for that you have to read, of course. So you keep doing that and practice answer writing. So once you're done that, this is the second step of improving answer writing. And finally, you have, what I was talking about is time management, because of course you don't have all day to write in the exam hall. You have 3 hours. So you have to manage writing good answers within that given time frame. So these three things, step by step, going there step by step, not trying to do all at once. It will be very tough then. First you get the structure right, then you get the content right, then you try to get the timing right. So I think that is how you can improve your answer writing. And please practice daily. Only for during prelims, let's say if you're giving prelims for the first time, then as I said, 3 dedicated months for prelims is necessary. So at that time you cannot write answers, but other than that, after, let's say, initial 2-3 months of preparation, when you have read a few things, read a few books, and know certain things, read newspapers, write answers every day. Answer writing is really important. So that would be my suggestion to you, to as far as improving your writing answers are concerned.
Okay, hope she'll get her answer. So there's a next question by Sona Wangmu. Which stream is the best in instant class for preparing this exam?
Okay. I don't think there's a best stream, because it's about what marks you get, right? So if I say, okay, no, let's say non-medical is good, let's say, so then it really doesn't make sense, because if someone who's really good in humanities and takes that and scores more, so he or she will do better, of course, right? So this I really can't pick one stream, okay, that this is good or this is better, uh, because it depends upon the candidate and what his or her aptitude is, and how well she can perform in that exam. So there is no like right answer for this. But still, if you want to ask me, if you want me to give you an opinion, so right now what I feel, if you like, it's not in context of the exam, it's in context of the alternate also. So what I feel right now is that medical is, I think, a good stream, in the sense that, let's say you're not able to qualify for the civil services. Let's not hope that happens. Then medical definitely, I think doctors are in demand, and you'll definitely get, the job as a doctor, as compared to engineers, or let's say the humanities department. And other than that, I've seen that what people, students from medical, I think they retain more what they have done during their college time, as compared to student from other streams. That's not true for everyone. It's just what I've seen. You can say it's a rough generalization. So that would, if I have to say which stream is the best, if I have to pick something, then I would say medical in this context. But again, I would say there is no right answer. Whatever you are most comfortable with, whatever you think is good for you, you can do well in that particular stream. That is the best stream for you. It is a very individualized question. There can be no one right answer. So that is what I have to say.
Okay. So there's another question by Rixin Yangdol. So actually, can you please suggest ways to prepare for Jamia?
Jamia. Okay. So
Jamia.
I'll tell you about the Jamia exam. Yeah, I got it. Jamia, right? The residential coaching academy thing she's asking, no? Okay. So well, I'll tell you about the exam that you have to give there. So once you go if you go and appear for the exam, it's a 3-hour exam. The first hour you have to appear for a multiple choice question type exam like prelims, and the next 2 hours you have to write 2 essays, 1 hour each. So for the first hour, the multiple choice question type exam, the objective exam, if I may say so, it follows the same pattern as UPSC. You have to prepare your static subjects like polity, geography, economy, and current affairs. This is what you have to prepare. But apart from that, they won't have 100 questions, of course, because it's just 1 hour. So I think they will have 50 or 60 questions, and there will be 5 to 10 CSAT questions, one passage and some, quant and all that. So this is how you have to prepare for the first 1 hour. You just prepare as you're preparing for prelims. That's it. Nothing different you have to study. And for the next 2 hours, you have to prepare for the essay. So try writing essays, or just as you're preparing for your civils. But the thing is that you don't have 1.5 hour each for one essay. You only have 1 hour. So that you have to make some adjustments there. That is what I have to say. And then when you clear this written stage, you have the interview stage for Jamia. So for that, you should just read up upon newspapers and your background, things like that. It's not really different from what you're preparing for civil services. You should just prepare very well for civil services, and automatically, I think you should get selection in this residential coaching academy for Jamia.
Okay. And
Yep.
there's another question by Stanzin Wangyal. That have you ever felt demotivated during those times? And if yes, then what made you go on and to give the examination again? As many aspirants might feel too much demotivated and depressed and can just stop giving the exam.
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, I paid a lot of times. So of course, I really felt demotivated when I wouldn't see my name in the list for the interview. So the candidates who were, shortlisted for interview, I think that would be my lowest point while preparing for this exam. And to see your friends also go ahead and clearing the exam, I mean, you're happy for them, but it kind of, you feel little bad also, I guess. In Of course, it's not meant in a harmful way, but then I think it's just human nature. You can't help it. So yeah, there have been times when I felt really low and demotivated. And what really kept me going, of course, my family was really supportive of me, and they always said that okay, it's okay, you give it again, you will clear it. So I think the support system that you have, your family and friends, it is also very important. They play an important role in ensuring that you get up and dust off the whatever baggage of the last preparation and you start again. Other than that, I think what other thing that kept me going was that I think I felt that I can clear this exam. I kind of, let's say, I don't know, have had faith in myself that I can do it, because since my friends around me were clearing it, and I thought that I can also do it. I really didn't see any reason why I couldn't do it. So these are some of the things that kept me going when I felt really low. Yeah, that's it.
Okay. So another question by Rixin Yangdol. is it important to have a backup while we were preparing for UPSC? Like if we were just graduate and then for the rest of the year we kept on preparing for the exam, will it be a good
Mm-hmm.
decision or should we go for a master's and then prepare side by side?
Okay. Um, it definitely is important, to have a backup for this exam. It's the first thing that you should have do well before getting into this exam. I genuinely feel that. And why it is important, I've said many times, because this exam is really unpredictable. Even people who are really smart and have worked hard, they sometimes not make it into the list. I know many people who are much well versed than in me as far as UPSC is concerned, and they have not made it into the list. So having a backup is really important. Now, whether you want to, the question about whether it is smart to go directly, prepare for this exam while giving after bachelor's, or whether you should go for masters. Again, I don't think there's a right answer for this. It depends from people to people. I know people who have left their masters to prepare for this, and I also know people who have done their masters and then prepared for this exam. So, but I think if you ask me, okay, since let's say, if you let's say you graduate, you are young, 2021. So I think you can maybe go ahead and prepare for this exam for 1 year, and then see if you want to do masters or not. Or you can also do the other way around. Also, you can do masters and prepare for this exam side by side. But since initially you need a really rigorous focused preparation, so if you have to take my personal opinion, I would say I think okay, you should focus on this specifically after your bachelor's before joining any master's course, because you'll be a little distracted with your master's work also. So that is what I would say.
Okay.
Yes.
Wait for a second. And another question. Is coaching is important for the UPSC paper
Mm-hmm.
from Jingmet Siskit?
Okay. So I would say, let's say, because is coaching important or not, right? So before this advent of YouTube, and when internet became very accessible, I think at that time maybe coaching was important, because for people who don't know what to do, how to do, in this exam, guidance is really important, because you need to know what to study and what not to study. So when internet was not very accessible at that time, obviously people could either lean on to their relatives, if they're lucky to to have somebody who had cleared. If not, then obviously they had no other choice but to go to the coaching centers, which I did myself. uh, but now I think, since internet is there and there are so many toppers who are sharing their strategies, how they've prepared, and what you should do and what you shouldn't do, in that sense I genuinely feel that coaching is not really important, and I know people who have cleared without coaching this exam. So I I think you should know how to use the internet well, and be on the lookout for about what toppers are saying, and also ensure that, see, there will be one topper every year, or let's say a lot of toppers every year, and they will say 10 people will say 10 different things. You have to ensure that you have to see that which strategy you think will work best for you and work on that, rather than listening to everything and then getting confused. So, but I would say that still coaching center, if for, like, let's say, I think it's important for mains, in the sense, if you want to write mock exams, then you need, I think, you need someone to evaluate it. So in that sense, I think coaching centers become kind of important, not coaching itself. But if you have experienced people around you who can read your answers and like give you feedback, then even that is not very important. So that is what I have to say right now, that coaching is not really important right now, in this age of very accessible and cheap internet. I don't think coaching is something which is mandatory. In fact, guidance is more important than coaching, and which you can get on the internet from various topics. That is my take on it.
Okay, so another question by Stanzin Shushkit. How to choose optional subject for UPSC exam? Hello?
Hello? Yes, sorry. I got a call.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So how to choose optional subject for UPSC exam? Op- Am I audible or not?
To choose optional, right?
Yes. How to choose optional?
Okay. So optionals, I would say that let's say so there are different options that UPSC offers for this exam. And let's say you have done something, you have done bachelor's in history or pol science or whatever. So I think it will be more convenient for you to go for that optional, because you would have already read it during your bachelor's. And that but then if let's say you're not very comfortable with what you did, or for some reason you cannot take the optional that in that optional in which you did bachelor's. For example, I had chemical engineering, but chemical engineering is not offered, so I couldn't opt for chemical engineering. So in case if you have to choose the optional, I would just say that of course you would know what the optional is all about, right? You would have a rough idea what is sociology about, what is economy about, what is political science about. So what you try to do is you try to go through the syllabus of some options that you think are interesting to you, or that you will have interest reading them, right? You go into the syllabus, you read some basic books about it or look at the question papers, and then see if uh, how well you're able to process the information or the basics of that optional. After that, you can also do another thing is that you can see how that optional can help you in other areas of this preparation. For, as I said before, for example, sociology helped me with my essay, it helped me with my paper one, it also helps me with my interview in a way. So I think that is how you should go and choose the optional. Basically, what I'm saying is you should choose the optional in which you think you're comfortable, you like studying that, and you are sure that you do well in that. Because otherwise, it's I shouldn't like try to go by like whatever direction the wind is blowing. Some year people will say, oh, people are getting good marks in anthropology, or let's say sociology or pol science, and then you'll pick it up. But if you really are not enjoying or don't, let's say, have the aptitude for that optional, then you won't be able to perform well. And I've seen people, let's say, people are saying sometimes that okay, pabad people are not getting good marks, but I know people who have got really good marks in pabad in that particular year, and it was because they enjoyed that optional and they personally had that aptitude for that optional. And in that front, I think made a mistake, because although I like sociology, but initially I couldn't score well. So then I realized that it's not because I'm bad at it, but it was my strategy was really bad about answer writing the answers. So do not get demotivated if you're not getting good marks in some option that you like. Just ensure that you're writing the right answers, because what eventually matters is the answer that you write, not what you have read, because the examiner can only see the answers you have written. So that is what I have to say. Hello? Hello?
Yes.
Hello? Yeah.
So, am I audible or not? Okay. So,
I'm
are there
sorry, I can't hear you.
compulsory subject for
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah. The compulsory subjects to prepare for civil services, right? Hello? 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 Okay. Yeah, yeah. So the compulsory subjects, okay, so as I said, there are certain things that you have to prepare the compulsory subjects. Um, First, so which is basically your statics. First of all, it's of course your optional. Whatever you choose, you have to prepare that. But that is only for means. And then the other subjects which you have to prepare for, which will come in both prelims and mains, are subjects like history, which encompasses all the three time periods, which is ancient, medieval, and modern. Then there is geography, and there is environment, there is economics, and there is art and culture, science and technology, and government schemes and government programs. Polity is really important. So these things are important, like throughout the course of the preparation. You have to prepare, their compulsory. And for mains specifically, ethics is something which is compulsory to prepare because there's one whole paper upon ethics. It doesn't come in the preliminary exams, but it comes for the mains. And so these are some like compulsory subjects. I hope I didn't miss on anything, but I mean there are many blogs where you can go and check out the important and compulsory subjects to prepare and from which books to prepare as well. That's it.
Okay. So the questions that keep repeating. So any other questions?
Mm-hmm.
Other questions asked? Any other questions by the aspirants? And yes, I have one last one question by my side. So what do you think? Which was the best time to start for the UPSC examination? Maybe it is schooling time or college time. Which
Okay.
time is the best?
Mm-hmm. Uh, so if best, now what it depends on what you mean by best, right? So if you want to clear it as soon as possible, then I think in school you shouldn't really try to think of preparing for UPSC. In a sense, you can definitely have the aspiration when you're in school to clear UPSC, but you shouldn't really like go out of your way to study anything else. But what you can do in school is you should have already have developed the habit of reading newspapers, editorials, and all these things. And so what you can do is that you can like plan very well. You can say that you can pick a stream which you think you will use in civils, and also if not, if you don't clear civils with it, you can definitely do something in the stream itself. Something like that you can do in the school, but you shouldn't really prepare for civils itself in school. And now when you're in college, then you can, I know people who have prepared during college and have cleared it the moment they have graduated, or at least let's say 1 year after it. So for that, I think you should start preparing in the last 2 years. Depends, I don't know, for example, in engineering, we had 4 years. So people started preparing the last year or the second semester of the third year. Or if you're doing some 3 year course, then you can also start preparing in your second midway part of your second year. You can do that, but then you would have to really manage your time well, because then you have to also ensure that you do well in you don't mess up the grades of your bachelor's. At the same time you prepare for civil, so just be aware that it would require a lot of effort from you and very good time management from your side if you want to clear it, while just after your bachelor's.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yeah.
So uh,
Mm.
another question by Mukhtar Jafri. How to keep your mind calm during the entire preparation, and what should be the revision
Mm-hmm.
strategy? Yeah.
Okay. So, so as I said, Mukhtar, that one of the aspects that can really help you to keep a calm mind is to have a very good plan B. Because if you don't have a plan B, then UPSC will feel like the end of the world, or like this is it. If you don't clear it, then there is nothing else to do. So if you have a very good plan B, then you can be calm, throughout the preparation, even while appearing for the preparation. Another thing would be is I would say, to have a very good circle around you, people who support you, and also, like if they have to criticize you, they do it in a constructive manner, uh, and to be around good people, good friends, and also familial support. So these kind of things help you to keep your mind calm and also help you to This is also a sort. Hello, hello, hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah, that's
Yeah. So if you
yeah, yeah,
work hard, if you're following your routine, that also helps you to, calm, to be calm, because you know that, okay, I'm following my routine, I'm following my schedule, I'm working hard. So once you have done all these things, then I think you should, be calm about it. So these are the things that I think can help you to be calm while you're preparing for this exam. And what should be the revision strategy? So, as I said, what really is important is that, let's say if you make a schedule, you ensure that earmark certain days or certain time of the day for revision. That is really important. And you revise something, and of course, you if possible, try to make notes of things, because notes really help you to revise more things in a very quick in a very short span of time, and try to make crisp and good notes of important things. And another thing I would say about revision strategy would be to discuss it with your friends, with fellow aspirants, because it will help you learn new things and new perspectives also, and as well as that, you will be trying to recall things, which is also important for which is the most important thing, the ability to recall what you have read. So that happens when you discuss things with your friends. So I think this should be a strategy to revise. And yes, revision is really important, I would just say that again. Yeah.